So speaking of Harvey Weinstein, we move right from one abusive Hollywood character to another. Rob, how you doing?
What the hell? What's that all about? First of all, what am I, Klavan? Behind the paywall now? First of all, you tell people, by the way, the show's over. But if you want to stick around,
they were jumping like rats off a ship anyway. It was.
I want to see the data. I want to see your big data, if you don't mind.
First, I have to say, not only are you the creator of Ricochet, one of the best moderate right-wing sites, where Another Kingdom is now playing, you are also now. I can't believe this. I can't believe you have an actual job. You are the executive producer of Kevin Can Wait, the Kevin James. It's a hit comedy show, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, as of this morning, we did really well. We were on last night, and we grew something at 10% where we're supposed to be. And next Monday, we moved to 8 p.m.
Does this mean this doesn't mean
we're on at 9? We'll be at 8.
All right. This doesn't mean I have to be nice to you now, does it?
No, because let's be honest. What do you have? 10 viewers?
That's no.
I can only be here because I'm your friend.
I had a lot of benefit. I had a lot of viewers before you came on. You're also the author of Bigly, Donald Trump in verse, and we'll talk about that. But before we talk about that, first we have to talk about. Well, you know what? Since I was talking about Harvey Weinstein, we got to go into this. I mean, you are a Hollywood guy. You have been around here. Yeah. Certainly, you've been around here longer than I have. You were the chief writer on Cheers.
One of them.
One of the head writers on Cheers. This is basically when people complain, this is what Hollywood is like. That's kind of a fair complaint, isn't it?
I don't know if it's a fair complaint. I mean, I don't know whether. Well, I think you have to separate into two things. There's one, which is that the idea that you can game the system somehow if you're the Harvey Weinstein. You're a 4 foot tall, 300-pound man, and if you're putting people into movies, I mean, you get to you don't get to, but there's a tendency to push people around. And there's a tendency to use the casting couch, right? That's why we call it the casting couch. It's not new. Everyone acting like, they're so shocked by this is really suspect. I am not blaming the victim. There's cases of assault that should be investigated. They should have the book at the guy. But if you're and notice that all the women are attractive, right? So if you're an attractive young actress and you wanted to part in a movie, and you thought by being nice to Harvey Weinstein you'd get that part, that doesn't make you suspect. That makes you smart. That's actually, attractive people get to go on TV and on screen, right? That's, watch CNN. They don't put unattractive people on there. They took Candy Crowley's show off the air, right? So, that's what it is, right? That's what we want to watch on screen. So, if you feel like you could be nice to him and maybe flirt with him a little bit and make the 4 foot tall, 300-pound man feel like he's attractive, just short of doing anything that would compromise your deeper moral beliefs or you're a person, right? And then Harvey Weinstein said, no, my boundaries are different from yours. My boundaries are farther. It isn't as if what he did was way out of left field, crazy behavior. I mean, I'm going to get in big trouble for saying this. It's that he pushed it too far. Because any attractive actress who was up in his hotel room, and she didn't expect to get groped, and she didn't deserve to be groped, and she didn't expect to get raped, and she did not deserve to be raped. That's assault, and there's no excuse for that. But she was flirting with him. Mm-hmm. No person goes, and I mean in this specific instance, because we're talking about criminal behavior or even like beyond the pale behavior. She did attractive people in Hollywood use their attractiveness.
That's what they're selling.
To get places.
That's right. Yeah.
No,
so there's no question about this. I'm not saying they should throw
the book at him. I'm not saying. I think that we would all be better, and we'd probably actually have more progress in this area if we were more honest.
Yeah.
So I think what happens when these things explode is people decide they're going to be outraged by all behavior, and what that really ends up being is you're outraged by no behavior. And we have this sort of general bloodletting, and we fire 2 or 3 executives, and then because we went so crazy, we don't pay attention to the signs when they are in front of us.
It is – I know you're not blaming the victim, and it is true. I mean, when women come into an audition for parts or be interviewed, they wear low-cut dresses, they lean forward, they touch your knee. There's just no question about this. I mean, at Fox News, I once told Greg Gutfeld that Fox News was like a bizarro high school where the smart, ugly guys get the pretty girls, instead of real high school where the good-looking guys –
that's Hollywood, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And I have been on Fox News programs where literally could not look down because I was afraid I would be looking down the front of a girl's dress that was cut so low that,
We're so high. Yeah, Fox News is great because they have that show Outnumbered,
yeah.
which has 4 attractive women. So somehow Fox News is the only show, the only network where they can have all women on a show, and it still is vaguely sexist. It's still a little bit.
But we have to bring up the fact that on Kevin Can Wait, we're talking about guys who have abused women, but you actually killed a woman. I mean, you actually murdered. I mean, you had this poor girl, Erin Hayes, was Kevin James's wife, right? And one day, Leah Remini from his old show comes on, and the audience liked her, so you just killed off this woman. I mean, that's fair, right?
Well, first of all, we didn't kill off. She's a character.
So the actress is still alive, you're saying?
She's still around.
Okay.
She's a great actress. She's a lot of fun, and she's very, very talented.
Okay.
Look, but this is a business, right? And it's a business that's very expensive. So it's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, and you want to give the audience the chemistry that gets them to come back every week, and we didn't have that. And sometimes you don't know you didn't have it. And you have to make a decisive decision. You have to make a decision that you're going to go for some great chemistry. Leah was available. She and Kevin get along. They have a long history on TV. And we felt like this was a way to recapture a little bit of that. They have kind of a Tracy Hepburn thing going. So, you want to recapture that. They're not romantically involved in the new series. It's not King of Queens. It's different. But these two people on screen have incredible chemistry. And you'd be crazy not to. I mean, what's weird is that people keep saying you killed her. The character he is a widower.
But he wasn't a widower.
Died.
They did this on Blue Bloods too. They killed off one of the characters.
Nobody died. Yeah, it's a good thing to do to refresh a series. Nobody really died in real life. Everyone in real life was paid very handsomely.
Well, I feel better about that. And as long as she doesn't turn up, as long as she doesn't turn up in a shallow grave, I'll let you off the hook for this.
No. This is television. It's like there's no actual consequences to anything.
Oh, good. That's the world I want to live in. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Because you're a cuck.
Exactly. So
wait, I'm a cuck.
Now you're a cuck. You are a major. You wrote this book Bigly, which I have to admit.
I did not write it. I edited it.
You edited this book Bigly, where you've taken the speeches and comments of Donald Trump and arranged them as poetry. And I have to tell you, yes. It's genuinely hilarious. I mean, it had me laughing out loud. I will give a poetry reading if you don't mind. Here's Donald.
For the first time.
High Society by Donald Trump. I have Palm Beach. I have Mar-a-Lago. I deal with society. Society loves me, and I can act differently for different people. I mean, that's profound. That basically takes poetry to a new place.
It's funny because you and I probably differ a little bit on Trump. I'm not a fan.
Right.
But I, in many ways, I'm kind of like you, and I end up cheering a lot and sort of hating myself sometimes for cheering. But look, the guy, whatever you think, you love him, you hate him. He's got a singular way of making himself understood, a singular way of communicating. And so I just sort of wrote one speech out. I just laid it out. And the rule was for me, when I laid it out on a page, I would not add any words or subtract any words or rearrange them. So this is just as it came out of Trump's mouth.
Right.
And there is a kind of a rap star rhythm to it, kind of a call and response kind of rhythm to it, especially in the middle. In the beginning when he's a little bit tight, and he's kind of trying to stay on target. And at the end, when he suddenly has to remind himself he's got to get back on target, that's not as interesting. But in between, when he's kind of just going cutting loose and just like it's right out of the poetry brain, it gets really interesting. And a lot of it, sometimes it gets really revealing. He is not, people say he lies.
Yeah.
And that's probably true. Objectively, he has a very loose connection to the facts. But he's not deceitful. It's not as if he knows that he's not telling the truth. He really thinks it's the truth. He really does. So when the poems really do feel like they're right from him. The one I like the best is the shortest one. I think it's called The Pope, which is: the Pope, I hope, is frightened only by God. Now, Klavan, you think about that.
Now I know my
That
eyes filled
actually
as you
is
would.
pretty. That actually is pretty deep. Look, I'm an English major. I got a bachelor's in English literature, and I probably spent several when you add it all up, several weeks of my lifetime writing and thinking about poems that had less resonance and value than that.
Then that absolutely. I think he has reworked the American literary scene. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But you have been. I mean, you have been. Like I feel with Trump sort of like a guy who doesn't like Japanese people watching Godzilla. I feel like I'm rooting for the monster, and I know I shouldn't be, but I just kind of like watching CNN go running through the streets screaming in Japanese.
Look!
But you have been consistently critical.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't. But I live in a world. I live in a very much darker world, I think, than you do, and that I don't believe that we are somehow. Or the world is somehow organized so that we are entitled to a good choice.
Right.
So I was at a bar on Friday night. You'll be surprised here. I was at a bar Friday night, but in Manhattan.
You were still in a bar Friday night, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In Manhattan. And I was sitting there waiting for some friends to arrive, and there's a couple people next to me, and they were visitors from Idaho. And they were having fun. They're nice young people having fun. And so the woman there, the young woman there was like, hey, so what do you do? And I always lied. I'd say, I'm a financial journalist, because nobody ever asks any questions of a financial journalist. But she's just her journalist, and she wanted to know what I thought of Trump. And I said, I don't like it. And she said, yeah, so Hillary would be better? I'm like, no, I don't think so. But we're not entitled to a good choice.
That's the way I feel too. Yes, no question. But
two bad choices is possible.
But this did not stop the New Yorker from ripping you apart for Bigley.
The liberal media. Yeah.
I mean,
all those years of rhino squishy currying favor with the left wing did not help me.
You tried your best to buy their favor, but I love this. She says, first of all, she accuses you of making your Long's purpose, she says, is to make fun of poetry itself. I mean, poetry itself, Rob, for crying out. But then she goes on to say the president.
She's right. She's absolutely correct.
She says Bigley is an example. I mean, this is the New Yorker, Rebecca Mead in the New Yorker. Bigley is an example of expedient political normalization dressed up in the honorable clothes of political satire. It is the jocular sanctioning on the part of the right kind of tyrant. You are a jocular sanctioner. Yeah.
That was my stage name, by the way. Yeah, her argument seems to me to be that I'm not in making light sport of him the way humorists have been making light sport of all presidents since the beginning of time.
Right.
The way people who loved and adored Reagan, as I did, would make fun of the fact that he's old and kind of every now and then seem to lose the thread of things, or George W. Bush not really being able to put two or three sentences together, any of that stuff. She seems to think that Trump is beyond that it's not okay to make fun.
If you're laughing,
the way we always make fun of president. That it must always be driven by some sense of outrage. And also, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, what is this? You're normalizing him. I mean, he's president of the United States.
It's normal. I know.
That is normal.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not like it. I'm not crazy about it myself, but it is true. I saw it on TV. He raised the thing and it happened. He's president. He's in the White House. It's true. It is normal.
Yep.
You may hate it, but what's funny to me is that the people who complain so much that he's, loose with facts and all that stuff, are incredibly loose with the language.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What does normalize mean? It means that we're not always waking up saying, this is outrageous. You can't live in that world. Unless, of course, you're getting paid to by the New Yorker. And unless, I think, even more so, you feel that there are zero consequences to your outrage.
Right.
It's a pose,
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're surrounded by people who absolutely agree with you. So speaking truth to power is not speaking truth to power. It's just speaking to your friends. Yeah. Rob Long.
Speaking truth at a fancy restaurant. Am I done?
You're done. Get out. Get out.
You're making a kind of a noise like Rob Long. It's been nice, but
I can't be here forever.
Really?
I got things.
Really?
I got things to do. Hey, I'm a busy man.
Yeah, I don't think so. So because you could put on a collared shirt for this? Come on.
I knew you were coming. I wanted to look hip in Hollywood.
What do you think?
I like
What do you
it.
think?
I actually like it. The
Yeah?
beard, yeah, no, excellent, excellent.
Because I
beard.
look older than you. That's why.
However, when I see you on Gutfeld, you're not wearing shoes. You're not wearing socks.
I'm not wearing socks.
Socks, yeah. Put the socks on. Yeah, that's like, I mean,
Yeah, that's more of a casual show.
you're making me
So,
ashamed.
I will be wearing socks now that the socks are seasonable. Like you have to. I'm a guy who
I mean,
lives in the seasonal wardrobe.
I just want to know, are you wearing pants now? That's what I want to know. That's like.
Wouldn't you like to know?
All right. The author of Bigly, the executive producer of Kevin Can Wait, and the founder of Ricochet. So actually, almost
you remember. Yeah.
almost an accomplished human being. It's like
I'm
close.
part of the establishment.
Yeah, part of that's right. The GOPE. Yeah, it's good to see you. I hope you come back sometime.
Good to see you too.
All right. I'll
Yeah,
talk to
see you soon.
Bye. All right. So I love the guy. I have to say, I worked on a project with him, and it was. I can't name the people involved because they were famous comedy writers. And for some reason, it was famous comedy writers and me. And we were writing about, what was it, Obamacare. We were doing some satires on Obamacare. And first, you have to understand that TV writers never write anything. Like, I'm a novelist. I write things. I stand with my hands on the thing. But that's not what happens. So they say, go, each one does a script, and this is your script, and this is your script, and there's like 4 of us, I guess. And these are big guys, guys with big shows. And we all go out, and one guy comes back with a script. Who do you think it is? Me, because when you tell me to write something, right, I write something. You pay me to write it, I write something. Everybody else comes back with like a napkin with they scrawled something on it, or like a piece of note paper, like a little piece of toilet paper. And each guy in turn, I guess this is how a TV show is written. I've never worked on a TV show. Each guy in turn hands his little scrap to Rob, and Rob kind of looks at it and then just starts to vamp, just starts to talk. And I don't know if you've never worked in comedy, you don't know this, but what comedy people do is they never laugh. They say, good line. Oh, that's funny. Good line. Yeah. No, I like that. That's funny. There's no laughing. I was in tears. I was doubled over, like tears stream. I was laughing so hard because he just would ad lib what he thought the video would be, and then when he was done, the guy would go home and write what Rob said, right? And that's what they do. They never do anything. It's just an amazing. They never sit there. Like me writing is like you scratch your chin, you kind of look around, you take a pace, and then you sit down at the time. No, it's just they talk. He just talks, and it's hilarious. And then they go and write that down. That was the experience of comedy. It was my one experience of comedy writing.